of Odyssey, and I'm shooting this very brief onboarding video to get you involved. So here's our webpage, which we're going to add more content and functionality to. So when you first join, check out the Google Doc for the project you're involved in. This is in the project primer, and for the first project, we're doing a meta-analysis of the 20 largest school districts in America. And of those 20 largest school districts, we're picking the 20 largest high schools. So we're dividing it into which data each person is going to collect each week. So for this project, we're going to put our name, what week you're working on it for, and make sure to assign which ones you're going to work on. For the meta-analysis, we're using this Google Sheet, and it's very indicative of the data we're going to collect. So to start, go to this template down here, click on this right triangle, I think it's a triangle. We're going to rename, or actually we're going to duplicate this sheet, and we're going to rename it. So I'm going to pretend like I'm Greg, and I'm going to tackle the New York City dataset. So I'm going to rename to the size of the school district. New York is ranked the first largest. My name is Greg. I'm tackling New York public schools. And I'm going to move this sheet to the right order. In this case, it'll be first. Take a very brief look at this sheet. This is the data we're going to collect from SARC and other publicly available information. This is irrelevant for us for now, so I'm just going to delete it so we could populate this data. So what you want to do first is find out which high schools are in your school district. You could do this with a Google search. What I did for this data set is San Diego Unified School Districts, and I looked at what are the high schools in San Diego. In this case, because there are 17 high schools, 17 is less than 20, so I'm going to include all 17 high schools. I just typed the name here. And after you find the names of the high schools, then you could pull up the school accountability report cards, the SARC reports. So if I want to compare these high schools, let's say Crawford High School, I'm going to go here, select the institution. Here it is, and go. If you're curious, Google the name of the high school you went to. For example, for me, it's Warren High School in Downey, California, and type SARC, and you can look at the similar report format for your high school. You're going to see a lot of information, from student enrollment to attendance rate to the ethnicity distribution, teacher credentials, the standardized exam scores. In this case, here's the data we're going to collect for the 2016-2017 school year. English, math test scores, science test scores, so on and so forth. There's other metrics that we're also going to collect. But make sure you read this report for the very first time so you understand the format and how the information is conveyed. So when you start, populate the name of the schools. The representative school district, San Diego Unified in this case, is the 19th largest. It's a high school. Here is the address and the zip code, which we could find here. It's also super helpful to get the latitude and the longitude information. And first, I made a few mistakes by just copying and pasting the address into the converter. But what you want to do is copy and paste the address and the zip code. to get the proper latitude and longitude coordinates. Otherwise, sometimes I got addresses outside of the country. So copy and paste this latitude and longitude. This will help us make that interactive map later. Of course, include the city, the state, and the country. For larger school districts, they range multiple cities, so that's why that's important. Title I represents the designation for schools that get additional funding. Charter schools, that's self-explanatory, and do they charge tuition? For now, we're not going to worry about this. This might be a future project because it's going to take too much time. And for the SARC reports, only look at the 2016-2017 school year. Using the SARC reports for each individual school, fill out the total student enrollment, the expenditure per student, student-teacher ratio, free and reduced lunch percentage, students in AP classes, percentage of them, how many AP classes the school offers, English test score results, math test score results, science test score results. This is defined by the percentage of students who get proficient or above in their standardized test. Also fill in the attendance percentage, graduation percentage, dropout percentage, and average teacher salary. In some instances, some of this data will be unavailable, like we see in Los Angeles School District. Just put NA for now, and then maybe this week, later on, or another week, we're going to populate this. But eventually, we have to complete this information. Of course, make sure that there's no punctuation marks in any of this data. No commas, no dollar signs, no additional marks. The only thing you could include are periods, because this is going to mess with the pandas data frame later. So also, if you look here, you'll see some example links. If you don't find any of the data you're looking for, do Google searches. But if you also look at page 4 of this project's primer, you also see some example data. That'll be helpful. If you don't see it, Google the name of your school district. So for example, New York Public Schools, SARC, or school data, anything that nature, and find the links to scrape the data. You could also look at the district homepages if that helps. If you have any questions, comment on the data, and then a data analyst will be able to see it and get back to you. So I hope this explains how to replicate this sheet format. You duplicate, you rename, you delete this information, rename it with the schools, the location information, and then scrape SARC data to populate this data. List of high schools and the SARC data, the latitude longitude converter, and also for this project we use a GitHub repo. So if you go to github.com/civex76/odyssey, this web page is hosted on GitHub Pages. So if you want to see this, go to the branch titled gh-pages, and you'll see all the files that are hosted on the web page. So for those of you who are doing more of the web development and the data analysis, you'll be using this kind of repo, and you could do pull requests. We also host this project or the files behind the project in Google Docs. If you want to see the data where it's being stored, go to the Google Sheets folder. This is the Google Doc for this file. If you want to do more data analysis in Google Colab or Jupyter Notebooks, here's the Python notebook. That's for later on. If you're curious about the policy dimensions of the work we're doing, I added a lot of extra research from the Department of Education, from different think tanks, and you could read a lot more behind the policy and the research on what's standard in this field. Hopefully you're also added to our Slack group. It's an instant messaging tool that we use to communicate and organize content. So now you've seen our Slack, our Google Drive, our project, and how it's oriented with Google Sheets. I'm Ben Alama, and feel free to ask me any questions you have.